Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. We're on Unit 2. This unit we will be focusing on solving linear equations and linear inequalities. So a lot of work to do there. Before we get into video lecture 4, or rather the first part of video lecture 4, I wanted to uh, put forth a tip about, reviewing and studying mathematics, opportunities to strengthen skills. I think it's just, can't be said enough and is something that'll get you in the right routine and in the right direction. Okay. So my perspective on reviewing and studying mathematics is that you have to do it regularly. It's been shown that just regular practice, you can't just let it slide work on it every Sunday before it's due. We have to be working on it every day. And the reason is mathematics builds. If we don't understand one thing, we're immediately getting ready to use it in the next thing. So if there is something that, that's a little blurry, it hasn't quite stuck yet, we have to make sure that we take action quickly. So another element of this is just making sure that you're honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and, ask that question, seek out the help. Okay. A way that you can get these problems to practice and to be able to do it regularly, is, doing your homework regularly. There's another button on ALEKS. When you click in the top left corner, that kind of menu button, there's a review button. When you click that review button, it'll show you all the things that you've already kind of accomplished, but you'll be able to go back and practice more of those problems. Has the same kind of drop down menu where you can choose some things. Okay. Additionally, your instructor is going to share lots of problems with you in class. Make sure you take advantage of those and any extras that they hand out. Okay. Additionally, I want to make sure that, lots of opportunities arise around us, but we have to make sure we take advantage of it. So making sure that you collaborate with those people around you. So in class, you're going to have people around you, but also, wherever you're living, you probably have other people around you that are taking Math 122. So I would encourage you to, build a network, build a small community of people that you can depend on, to help develop a steady routine that you're going to go about with them. And you can help hold each other accountable, right? Like we all want to be successful. So doing that together just makes it a lot easier, I think. Additionally, we have opportunities with like the STEM Learning Center and attending instructors' office hours. There are links and hours of those posted in our eCampus, so just make sure that you check those out, okay? So for today's video lecture, this first piece, video lecture 4, we're going to talk about solving linear equations. First little bit here, we're just going to talk about two properties that we're going to be using on various difficulties or various, advanced levels of solving equations. And the first one we're going to talk about is this additive property of equality, okay? What this property basically says is that with an equation, to maintain equality, I like to think of it as like a scale. If we want to keep the scale equal, if we add one thing to one side, we have to add that same thing to the other side, and that helps maintain the equivalence. We can add positive numbers, we can add negative numbers, which is the same thing as subtracting. So we're able to add or subtract across an equal sign as long as we're ensuring that we do the exact same thing on both sides. Okay, so an example of that is, at its most basic form, it says x plus 5. So something plus 5 equals 7, right? If we wanted to use this property of equality, this additive property of equality, what we're doing here is we want to get x by itself. We're solving for x. That's our purpose when we're solving an equation. Solve for the variable, get it by itself. We would like to move this plus 5. And the way we would do that is by subtracting 5 on the left. And we also have to maintain equality and subtract 5 on the right. So we've zeroed out this plus 5 with a minus 5. So we're left with just x equals 2, right? And when I pose that question, something plus 5 equals 7, we can probably say, yeah, it's 2, right? But this property gives us the foothold to be able to apply this to some more complicated things, okay? The other one we're going to talk about is this multiplicative property of equality. So similar to the additive property, the multiplicative property of equality states that if we want to keep our scale balanced, I can multiply an equation as long as I do it to both sides equally, and that helps me maintain equivalency. And Similar to the addition and subtracting thing, if we're multiplying by a fraction, right, we learned that multiplying by a fraction is the same as dividing. So we can think of multiplying and dividing in a similar vein here. But this one, right, I've got this example. We've got something divided by 3, x divided by 3 equals 10. To figure out that something, right, we want to get rid of this division of 3. So we would like to do the opposite of that. We are going to multiply both sides by 3. This multiplication of 3 and division by 3, those create a 1, right? Multiply by 3, divide by 3, we get a 1. We would say like they cancel out maybe. So then we get x equals, and 10 times 3 is 30. So 30 divided by 3 indeed does give us that 10 that we're looking for. Okay? So let's try a couple out that put in our fractions for us. So we're going to do x minus 2/3 equals 1/15. So this one may be a little bit more difficult to just think of the number that works, right? So we're going to lean on our property here. So something minus 2/3 equals 1/15. We want to get rid of this, it's a minus 2/3. If we would like to get the x by itself, that minus 2/3 needs to go to the other side of the equation. We'd like to zero that out. Just have to make sure that we maintain equivalency by adding it to the right side as well. So on the left side, we're left with x. We're going to need to do 1/15 plus 2/3. So this is where our skills from before come into play. We need to add two fractions. We need a common denominator. We actually did this in an earlier video lecture. So we need a common denominator, hopefully a least common denominator between 15 and 3. That is 15. So we get to keep this first one the same. We're going to turn the second one into a 15. And the way we do that is by multiplying that 3 by 5. So we're going to multiply that 2 by 5 as well. So we get a 10. Adding those two together, we get 11/15, ensuring that that's simplified, which it is. 11/15 is a good answer. Okay. Doing one for the multiplicative property, I have 2/3 x equals 1/7. Okay. So there's a couple of different ways to think about this one. First thing you need to do is identify what needs to move, right? So this thing that needs to move is if we want the x to be by itself, we need this 2/3 to move. And currently, this 2/3 is multiplying the x. So the opposite operation, the inverse to move it across would be to divide by 2/3, right? We want to divide by 2/3. But, right, we talked that we're attempting to divide by a fraction. The way that we divide by a fraction is by multiplying by the reciprocal. So really what we are going to do, what we're intending to do is we would like to multiply by 3/2. And I'm going to write that instead. Multiply by 3/2. And I'm going to ensure that I do it on the left and the right. Let me get rid of this. And let's talk about why this is going to work for a second. Let's visualize it a little bit. So in this fraction on the left, so over here to the left, we have a 3 times a 2, which is a 6, and a 2 times a 3, which is a 6. And a 6 divided by 6 is just a 1, right? So it's going to leave us with 1x, just x, right? Another way we can see it is like this 3 and this 3, those kind of, cancel out. Those equal 1, and 2 over 2, those again cancel out. So this is why we're looking to multiply by this reciprocal idea. So this ends up just being x. And then on the right side, we're going to end up with a fraction, a number. Multiply across the top, 2, across the bottom, 21. It's our fine answer. Okay. All right. A couple of more real quick where we're going to just kind of combine both of these properties. So I've got one here. 3 equals 5 plus 3x. Again, our goal is going to be getting the x by itself. So our strategy here is going to be to move the things away from the x that are with it so that we can solve for the value of x that would make this equation true. So right now we have this 5 that needs to move and we have this 3 that needs to move. We need to make the decision of which of these we should move first, which is kind of the least invasive and doesn't disrupt other pieces of our equation. So kind of thinking about what would happen here, right? If we chose to divide by 3, I would end up having to divide this 5 by 3 as well, and that creates a fraction. I know that we don't want to do that, okay? So when we're solving this equation, this 3 is right beside the x. We would like to just kind of sneak in here. We want to get rid of that 5 first. If we subtract 5 from both sides, we're still left with 3x. We're in a good spot. We get -2 on the left side, okay? And now, if I was going to attempt to divide both sides by 3, that is something that I'm able to do. I do get a fraction as my answer, which is, again, totally fine. We're comfortable with that. But we ended up saving it for the end, -2/3. Okay? And one more time, 4 minus 2x is equal to 12. Go ahead and pause the video. Try this one out yourself real quick. Think about what you would move first and how you would solve it. So we have this -2 that's multiplying the x, and we have this 4 that's a +4, adding onto the left side. So what we're going to want to do is subtract 4 from both sides. We don't want to disrupt that -2 in there. Not yet, anyway. So we get -2x is equal to 8. And now we're able to undo this multiplication of -2 by dividing by -2. So we get x equals, and 8 divided by -2 is going to be -4. All right, cool. Again, make sure you go and practice. We've got, a couple of, you'll be able to see these properties stated in your ALEKS topics. Great job.